Yes. So Plastic Off the Sofa is the mood this morning, for sure. The transition from Plastic Off the Sofa to Virgo's Groove is one of the craziest, best transitions I've ever heard. Plastic Off the Sofa has been my mood since the top of the year. I just love that song so much. And it also seems like any song with plastic in it is amazing. You got Plastic Off the Sofa by Beyonce. You got Plastic Bag, Drake and Future. You got Plastic, 100 Degrees Celsius by Sanford. I can go on and on and on, but they're all just amazing records, and I'm so happy that we can experience them. And I honestly also feel like Beyonce should have got a Grammy for Album of the Year for Renaissance. I just don't understand why not, but it was one of the best albums of that year. It literally was a part of the culture for that whole entire year, so it was an amazing project. But speaking of Grammys, feel like I'm in the Grammy essence of my life. Like, I feel like I'm getting a Grammy for life right now. Just the season that I'm in, I feel amazing. I've transitioned to a space of womanhood that I just couldn't fathom before, and I feel just great and blessed and grateful. So it's kind of like my moment. You know how when they win a Grammy, they go on stage and they say, you got the Grammy in their hand. They just want to thank God and thank their family and friends. That's just how I feel. So thank you to all of my people, and for the people who's been rocking with me with Kai Talks from the very beginning. So right now, I'm going to talk to you guys about where I've been and how I got to this space. So with that being said, I'm Jhaqai Lewis, the host of Kai Talks, here with another episode and a new season of Kai Talks, but a new season of life as well. Before, when people used to ask me what Kai Talks was about, I used to give this dragged out response. Oh, it's just about different topics and different experiences that I've been in my life and how I want to teach others how to grow from different things. Just blah, 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 blah. But I had to put it together in simpler terms for me to want to have people to engage in my content, in my podcast, and not just give out a dragged out answer all the time. So I sat and I listened to some of my old episodes before I sat in front of you guys today, just a few weeks back. And sometimes it's hard to listen to your old work because you've grown so much. So it's like kind of like a feeling you get when you're listening to your old self-talk. But at the end of every episode, I would always say, self-love is the best love. So it clicked in my head of like, that's what Kai Talks is about. Even with me putting my name and implementing my name in the title of my podcast, it's just simply about me, myself, and loving myself, and how that is transitioned and how it shines from me to the people that I like to encourage and inspire, and who I have conversations with. So that's something that I was like, that's what it is. Kai Talks is about self-love and how it shines through us in an authentic way. So that's something that I've grown accustomed to and considered, and I really feel like that's just what it is. You had that moment, that aha moment, as Oprah had made up that aha moment. That's what that aha moment was for me. So, Jhaqai, where have you been? Right? So I dropped my last episode on February 1st in 2023. So it's been 2 long years. At the time, I was actually just all audio. So I'm back. You can see me. You can see my interactions. You can see my facial expressions, that I'm actually here and we're together, right? It feels amazing. And throughout that time, I had a lot of fun. I messed up a lot of money. I spent a lot of money on like just buying things and having great experiences, going out with my friends and, eating out, which was great. Dating, that was something that I was doing during my 2-year span. And just having those experiences, because I felt like every Wednesday I would drop an episode and I was kind of like running out of things to talk about. I didn't want it to be like a robotic thing. I wanted to actually enjoy what I was bringing to you guys. So I felt like I had to take a pause, a break on that to go live life and come back so I can have so much great, enthusiastic things to say to you like I do now. I feel so refreshed and like a new woman. So bear with me, because I want to give y'all everything in detail, and I can be a little bit jumpy, but I got y'all because y'all deserve it. So during that time of me living life, having fun, figuring things out. It got to a point where I felt like, okay, what am I really doing? I felt like I lost the plot of why I took the break in the first place because I wasn't really focusing much on my purpose. It wasn't a point where I felt like, okay, this is the date where I'm going to get back. This is the date where I'm going to release a new episode of Kai Talks. It was just like living life. And then I felt like there was a point where I felt like I was enjoying the behind the scenes of not being out there. I felt like I was getting complacent with the idea that people didn't want to hear what I have to say. It was like this fear that was knocking at my door, right? All of the things I used to talk about before of, letting go of the fear had went away from me. And I was trying to figure out where that thing came from. So after all the fun is done, it's like, okay, purpose. You got to get back to purpose. And that's what happened to me. I think the fear came in for me when it was scary for me to bet on myself. I felt like I didn't know what was to come. If you put all of your money, your time, and your attention into this thing, how will it work out? And for the first time, I felt like it hit me like a shockwave, really, really bad. I never felt that before, where I felt like, what you mean you want to play the back? What do you mean you just want to figure life out and not do what you're destined to do? That's not what you're here to. You have Kai Talks. You're here to share messages and inspire people. You can't walk away from that. So that was one of the things I had to really sit back with myself and figure out, like, what's going on? Where is this fear coming from? And there's two instances. I was sitting home and my mom is like, what's going on? I feel like you're going to work every day. You're coming home, you're cooking, you're doing this, but you're not doing your thing. It's something, your spark is missing. What's going on? So that was one instance, right? And the second instance, she said, Jhaqai, now, since I remember you were always the person, since you were a little girl, you was always on the go. You weren't afraid to go places by yourself. You just studied abroad and went to London and met new people, not knowing anyone. You travel alone. You have no trouble with going and taking that extra mile and doing the next thing. What's going on? Where is this fear coming from? It's not like you. And that minute, that was the first time she used the word fear with me, and I actually didn't like it. But that's what made me stand face to face with myself and say, you know what? She's actually right. What am I doing? Why am I so afraid to bet on myself right now? What's going on? So when I got to that point is when I realized there are three things that I learned that I'm going to share with you all step by step, and I'm going to break them down to how I got to this point of sitting in front of you today. But that was just a long process of figuring out how to get back to Kai Talks. Before I get there, though, there's one other thing I want to mention. I'm focused. I have a laser focus now. And those three things that I just mentioned to you prior before saying that is what got me to this point. I'm so much laser focused in a sense that I'm more of a truth seeker and more of a truth speaker. When you're so focused, you don't have time to figure out anything else that's outside of your peripheral at that time. You don't even want to lie. Not like you're lying about anything or random things, but just not even the small talk. You just want to get straight to the point. Like if someone's asking you out and you really can't go because you have something else better to do, it's okay to say no. Being honest about that. If somebody's asking you what's on your mind, not just instantly saying, okay, you'd rather say, girl, I'm trying to figure this out. I got to get to this purpose. I got to get to this money, whatever's on your mind, just being honest about what's on your mind. So I'm so laser focused that I'm telling you the truth. You getting it to me, and I don't have time for the short talk. The sweet talk is just straight to the point. Not being mean, but just being honest in your journey. So that's where I am now, and I'm thankful to God. So let's get to those three parts, right? The first thing, accountability. Okay, now it's a hard thing, especially when you have to sit with yourself. There's no one else to blame. There's no one else to go to. If you don't like where you are in life, you have to sit with yourself and say, you get to make the choice to do this or the choice to do that. What are you going to do? And when you put that in perspective for yourself, you go back and you say, okay, what am I doing with my time? What was I doing all of that time? There's no one else to blame. And I say it's difficult because you know, being a woman and growing up, especially to me as the only child, I always had people around to fix things for me. It's like, if I made a mistake, there's someone to back me. If I didn't know what to do, there's someone to support me. If I needed something, there was someone always there. My mother, my grandmother, my dad, my godmother. You know, people are always around. But when you sit with yourself about your purpose, your journey, or your career, there's no one else it's all on you. That's something that you have to do for yourself. So taking that accountability put me into such a great space on wanting to move forward and sitting with myself and self-reflecting. Yes, just putting that into perspective and just taking responsibility for what I'm supposed to be doing moving forward. And that was the first thing. This led me into the second thing. Wanting to be an essentialist, right? Essentialism. Figuring out that one thing you need to focus on. Just doing one thing at a time. Priority, not priorities, not a plural thing. Just focusing on one thing. When you use so much energy in multiple things at one time, it's like you're not exerting your best in all you can give because you're in so many different areas. If you just focus on one thing and give it all you got, is when that opportunity for or that success happens, or whatever you wanted to do. So the first thing for me within that was quitting, because I was working 2 jobs. Okay. Now I don't knock it. All right. One of them was in aviation and the other was in hospitality. Right. Now, if you from Philly, that's a win up. You got the flight thing, you got the hospitality thing going, you can travel, do whatever. And that was my thing where I looked up in those 2 positions. So I was doing a lot of traveling at the time. The last place I went last April was Switzerland. I went to Switzerland by myself in Zurich. Had an amazing time. But one of the things I thought about while I was out there alone was, okay, I need to figure out a way to do something that is true to me, that I enjoy, where I don't have to use so much energy in my time, where I could just do this whenever I want, right? I have to focus on that one thing and I'll be able to do this. So I don't have to work 2 jobs in order to do this kind of stuff, right? The other thing was that it was just so exhausting working 2 jobs. It really, really, really is. And I didn't have time to think creatively. I didn't have time to figure out what it is I really wanted, what it is I do like, what it is I don't like. I just wasn't giving myself the time. And although it allowed me to do those fun things, it was just like I had to figure something out, right? So I let one of my jobs go. So now I use all of my time to focus on the other one. And when I get off of work, I'm going home, I'm making my meals. I got time to go to the market and to think and to take some time to myself and to do things. So that was very important for me. And, you know, just the idea of being a strong Black woman, I love it. I've been raised around women who work extremely hard. But for something I want for myself is for me to be able to attract. I feel like that's my natural right as a woman, to be able to use my feminine power, my aura, to put all of my energy into something that I enjoy, so that I can attract all of the things that I need and deserve for myself, but not putting so much energy into all these different things. So I felt myself at a standstill then. So becoming an essentialist in the sense of focusing on what's essential, focus on one thing so that you can be able to move forward in the direction you need to move in. And even with, like I mentioned before, just choosing when to say no, because being an essentialist, that's a big part of that as well. Knowing when to say no, knowing what's essential, what's important, what's the priority. You have to make choices. You have to choose. That's one thing you have to do in order to move forward in life, is to make a choice. So that's another thing with being an essentialist, and just figuring that stuff out, right? So once I put that in front of me, I felt so much growth within myself. I started paying attention to myself more. The things I like, the things I don't like, whether that's within myself or what I like to do or within men that I'm dating. You just prioritize the right things. Which leads me to the third thing, which is womanhood. Is such a beautiful thing. And womanhood is beyond getting your nails done every 2 weeks. It's beyond getting your hair done a certain way. It's beyond the lashes and the lip gloss. It's something inside of us that we choose to nurture from within and spread it across the world. And like I said before, just the attraction thing, like as women, we can attract so much when our mind and our gut and the inside of us is right. You know, that intuition stuff is real, but all of those things don't work unless we nurture them. Everything needs nurturing. You know, you plant a seed, you water it, you watch it grow. That's what you have to do within yourself. So all of those things leads to self-love, the point of what Kai Talks is about. So we're catching you up with all these things is just the premise, is a solid foundation of who I am and who I inspire other people to be. And it's not just about women, but men too. I mean, me being an amazing woman wants to see men be the best that they can be. And we are the supporters for each other and building community. So that's what it's strictly about as well. Kai Talks is about self-love and authentically shining that through and you know, building that community. Because self-love is self-confidence. Self-love is self-assurance, is self-esteem, is respect, is dignity, is integrity. All of these amazing things that you put into yourself, you're going to give to other people. It's going to be effortless when you mean it and you genuinely want to do better and you figure yourself out. And I came to the conclusion that those three things, in that order, will help you get into the best state of who you need to be, into your higher self. Now, it doesn't stop there. Of course, the work continues as we progress as people, right? But accountability, being an essentialist in your life, and focusing on that hood of whether you're a man or a woman, and just honing in on those three things and taking in the honor and the glory that all of those give is just so very important. So I sit in front of you now, like I always say, grateful, blessed, and just overwhelmed with joy that I could sit here and give you guys this life story. So that's definitely where I've been. And just to piggyback off of what I said earlier, just even with dating and having fun and messing up and, you know, spending money and doing all that good stuff, that's not to say that you can't do that while figuring yourself out, because it is possible. When you get to a point of like, okay, I really need to figure this out and really focus, you have to choose whether you got to make sacrifices, and that's the sacrifice I had to make. So God is the best. God is good. We have some great things in the future. I don't want to say in the future because a lot of things are coming soon. It's going to be case by case, but a lot of things for Kai Talks. Amazing guests. I love to have conversations with amazing people. So that's what it's going to be about. And like I said, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and for always supporting me. And yeah, so we're going to see what's coming up soon. But we do have a very special guest that we're going to have soon. I'll introduce her in a minute. But let's just take a break and a breather, and I'll be back soon. Welcome back to Kai Talks. I now have my special guest. She is a poet. She is an author. She is a nurse. She is everything in between. Also just a very, very genuine soul. An amazing music lover. She knows all the great music. Her music taste is A1, okay? I have the one and only RyAnn V. Bryant, and it's RyAnn, not Ryan.
Period,
right? So,
yes.
How are you feeling today, RyAnn?
I feel so good. I'm so grateful to be here.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here.
I'm so excited to have you. How was the drive here? How was it?
I live close, so I thought I'm going when I'm looking at the address, I'm like, it's totally close. It's like 1.5 miles away. So
that wasn't bad.
The weather is beautiful outside. The sun is shining. You know, I got the sunnies on.
Yes, you look good. We color coordinating and all.
Listen, unplanned. That was not scheduled. But listen, that's what aura match aura. That's
how
we
alignment,
do.
Right?
Yes. Yes, good to be here.
It's great to have you. So don't mind me. I'm gonna just be looking in my notebook because I have my notes in here because I want to make sure I get. I'm just so excited to learn about you because, you know, we're always talking on social media.
Yes.
We have connected through music.
Yes.
And then not only that, when we tweet, it's like, oh no, like she feel me, we feel each other.
Yes.
So let's just start here though. So we have this in common, writing.
Yes.
That's one of my first loves
Yes.
too. When did that come about for you?
So I would say in high school, it was like something I did more frequently. Like I think back to like when I was like in middle school and elementary school, we used to have like little prompts that we could write, but it didn't become a passion of mine until high school. Like English was always my favorite course in high school. Math, no. None of that. English, I love to write. I love to tell stories. I love to like explain my imagination, but I didn't like sharing it because I honestly didn't feel like people would care about what I had to say. I'm just like, nobody wants to read any of this. And I used to write like little like novels to myself, like poetry and like little stories to myself, like making up stuff. Like my imagination would just go somewhere else.
I love that.
In like a spiral notebook at the lunch table in Northeast High School. Shout out to NEHS. Shout out to NEHS. But yes, that's why I used to just do all my penning. I would write love letters when I would be like dating. Like writing was just always my thing.
You had the love letters popping?
Listen, I was a lover girl. I'm still a lover girl. But yes, love letter John.
Yes.
Right? Like that was
right.
Writing was just my thing. But like I said, it was the perception of how people would look at me or how would they perceive my writing. I was like, nobody needs to hear this. So that's where it stayed for a while. It stayed in high school. It just stayed in that memory, in that chapter.
Yeah. I love that. Heavy on the love letters too. Let's get more love letters, y'all.
I would love to write a love letter.
Listen.
Like now.
Like now.
I've written like love poems, but it took me a while to start doing that.
Yeah.
But I would love to write a letter. Like then I share with nobody but the person. Like that'll be a goal.
I won't lie, y'all. I wrote a love letter about 3 or 4 pages long. Pages long, right?
You and Aaliyah.
This was recently too, probably like 2 years ago, maybe.
Nothing wrong with it.
Oh, I love that down. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a good thing. It's very opening and fulfilling.
Yes.
One thing I didn't know, right? Because I saw you. All right, so let's start here. Rinse Due.
Yes.
You just did that on March 19th, right?
Last Wednesday.
But you broke it down where it made me want to learn more in a sense, right? You said 9 years ago you would go, right, and watch people recite their poetry and do it to give you inspiration. But at that time you were just singing.
Yeah.
I didn't know I didn't know that. So tell me more. So how did you singer? That's awesome.
Yeah, so like I know you see the attire now. Yes, I'm Muslim now, alhamdulillah, but I grew up Christian. I grew up in a church. So typical singer story, like growing up in a Baptist church, singing in a choir, like the same background.
Yeah.
In school, singing in a choir, things like that. But I used to be afraid to like sing in front of people by myself. In a choir, you blend in with the crowd. Nobody can sing you out if you have a wrong note or you're flat that day. Like you could just blend in. But for me, when I used to go to Rinse Due is an event. It's an open mic event, right? It started off as just a pure open mic event with a live band once a month. 9 years ago, my cousin DJ Ricochet was the DJ. Bino French, I'm pretty sure you guys know who Bino French is, one of the hottest R&B heartthrobs out of the city of Philadelphia, West Philadelphia to be exact. They both started this event. And I used to go to watch people perform, but also build up the courage to perform myself. Because I'm like, I sing in the house, I sing Jill Scott, I sing Alicia Keys in the house. Like, I could do this.
Yes.
But I would go there and I would hear like the amazing songstress, vocalists that would come through there and they would just tear the house down effortlessly. And I would be like, yeah, Rod, this ain't for you. Like, this ain't you. You can't do this. But over time, I built up the confidence to start performing. So I started singing there. I wasn't even doing poetry at that time. I just would go there, sing Jill Scott covers, sing Alicia Keys covers, out of fun, but also giving me that courage to get in front of people and lose that notion to be perceived by people. And it's funny that comes full circle because it's always been my fear. What would people think about my art, my vulnerable feelings, like how I display my emotions? And that's something that I've struggled with all my teenage years into adulthood. Like I'm 35 and it's still something that I work on, just being vulnerable and being raw with my emotions. And I feel like with your artistry, those are your pure vulnerable feelings, whether it be about love, things you're going through. People share everything. And to give that to the world, to be perceived and judged and made commentary on, is like a scary feeling. You think like, look how people criticize celebrities now just for living their everyday lives. So that was like I can't fathom the thought of people knowing how I truly feel about whatever. But eventually it was something I just worked on and just kept at it. But Rinse Do was the full circle moment because it was like, wow, this was like a time where I was just so afraid to just get on that stage. I would be literally I would be shaking, like trembling, like my voice, like you can hear it, my voice. Like I would be drinking so much hot tea trying to prepare. And I'm just like up there like shaking. And then eventually, like the more I did it, the more comfortable I became. But doing Rinse Do as a co-headliner was like,
that's huge.
It was huge. And I honestly say that was my best show I've ever done.
Wow.
That I've ever done, because it meant so much to me to come back. And it was like all the people that used to come out back then, they were all in attendance.
Wow.
Because a lot of them haven't been able to make it to a poetry show. So they were like, this is the perfect opportunity to come see you perform. But also it was just like a sense of nostalgia to see everybody in the room that we used to just like be young and carefree with, and just getting together for the love of music, for the love of live music, for the love of hip hop, like just enjoying a good time. And seeing them in that crowd and knowing like where I came from and where I am now, I just felt like I had to give it my 100% best. Like I had to tear the stage down. I wanted to leave no notes, clock the tea. You had nothing to say but good praises. And the way people received me that night and the way they commented afterward let me know that my prayers were answered. Because that's what I prayed for. Like, you know, we're doing Ramadan. I broke fast at the venue and I'm back there on my rug and I'm praying. I'm just like, I just want my words to be received well, that somebody could leave here and be inspired by what I'm doing. Like, look at me as a representation of women that are trying to achieve their goals and chase their dreams and not live to societal standards and just go for what they want to go for in whatever realm. And when I got off that stage, I just felt that energy. It was just so palpable. And people were just coming to like, you're beautiful. Like, you look beautiful covered and performing your poetry, like your voice. My voice is another thing that I always used to be insecure about, because it's like, not girly, it's not high pitched, it's like firm. Like
I love it. Like, it's beautiful though.
Thank you. It's like very firm and like soulful, and like that's what they come like, your voice is so soulful. It's so like,
that's a perfect word to describe it. Soulful. I love that.
And I was like, they were like like Nina Simone, like you giving us like sultry, like it's beautiful. And I was just like, wow, it all came together.
Wow.
Yeah, it all came together. Yes.
How long does it take you to remember a poem? Like, I was thinking, like, because you do an amazing job, because we're going to get to that after you answer this, because it's one of your poems I really love so much. How long does it take you?
It depends. So I treat memorizing poetry like I treat like when I listen to music.
Okay.
So I have this app. It's like called like a documents app. So basically I record the poem, like me reciting a poem on the voice notes on the iPhone. And then I transfer that file to the documents app. And what it does, it plays it on repeat like a song. Like, so I don't have to stop. Like, it just goes on a loop. And when I keep on listening to it in that way, it just sticks like second nature. When I would try all methods of trying to memorize, like reading line for line, stanza for stanza, or whatever, and it doesn't work. I have to treat my poetry like I treat music. I could hear a song that come out on Friday and we'll memorize the first half of the song at least by Friday night or Saturday morning. So that's why I was like, why not just use what works for me? Like, stop trying to do what everybody else utilizes to memorize poetry. Do what works for you. And I'm going to always link my poetry to music. Always.
I love that connection. Because all of them are intertwined in their own way anyway.
Even with performing with a live band, it's surprising to me to hear poets like say that they don't like performing with live bands, or they feel they're unable to because they're unable to catch the rhythm. Like, they have their own cadence of how they, you know, portray the poetry, but it's hard to do it over music, where that's my preference. Yeah, I will always prefer playing with a live band. And even for Rinse Do, I picked 3 instrumentals. I did New York State of Mind by Nas, and then I did Dead Presidents by Jay-Z, and then I did The Way by Jill Scott.
Flavor. What did I tell y'all? She has flavor in the music, not just music, but everything. She literally know what's going on. Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
I gotta make it to, I wish I could have made it there. I gotta make it to another one to see you.
Yeah.
Which brings me here. Hyper Independence.
Okay.
Now, I watched it, because you did it like a year ago, right?
Yeah, on Voices of Power.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that so much. And here's this
You
part
know,
that I
it's so
want you.
funny. You know, when you perform things, you don't like. I don't think think people pay attention. It's just like I just do it and just like
Girl,
put it in the background. So like to hear you say like, "Oh, that's one of my favorite poems," I'm like,
yes.
"You watched it?"
Listen, yes, I watched it. I loved it, and it's my favorite. Also, because you know, when you're at a point in your life and you catch something, and it's like, wow, it really hits you because you're going through it, right?
Right.
The hyper independence. We all can relate to that, right?
Especially as Black women.
Yes. I want you. So this is the part that got me, and it's right in the beginning too, right? You said, "There's a method to my madness, reason for my sadness. I'm asking, is being a strong Black woman who is exhausted from being just that. Don't." What you say? You said, "Don't want to claim that
as
shit is soft."
A soft girl
a
era.
soft girl era.
It just needs to be
standard. Love that. Down. Explain more about what you meant and where were you at the time when you wrote that.
So there's a method to my madness. Basically, is saying like, because I'm hyper independent, I'm looked at as like something wrong with you. Like this is not normal for you. Like you shouldn't behave this way as a woman. But there's a method to it. There's a rationale behind it.
Yes.
A reason for my sadness. Yeah, I'm sad because I don't feel comfortable depending on anyone. Because I've been let down by so many people that I thought could relieve me of stress, relieve me of heavy emotions, but did nothing but let me fall. So a reason for my sadness, I'm masking, meaning I'm trying to cover it, hold it inside, not let people see, you know, these vulnerable moments, even though this is stuff that I wish I could share and be vulnerable about. I can't show that. I gotta keep it together because this is the hyper independence. This is the coping mechanism. Reason for my sadness, I'm asking, as being a strong Black woman who is exhausted from being just that. I'm tired. I'm totally through.
Yes.
But what can I do? This is how I was raised. This is all I know. I'm trying to recondition myself, but this is what is instilled in my brain. It's instilled in my soul. You know, don't want to claim this as a soft girl era. It just needs to be standard.
It just needs to be standard.
Why do I have to make this be an error? Like this is something that has to come and go. This needs to be how life should be.
Yes.
This is how I should have been brought up. This is how all Black women should be embraced and met halfway by their spouses, by their husbands, by their families. And
speak about it.
Yeah, and I just feel like we're at the forefront of just emotional trauma, and also that what's the word I'm looking for? It's just like you're just numb.
Yeah.
You're numb to what has transpired, and just like you got to keep pushing forward. I got a kid to raise, kids to raise. I got a family to feed. I have work to do. I have to pay the bills. I have to be at the forefront. Now, it's not always her circumstance to say it's her fault for why her life ended up that way. You know, we come up in a system where they separated us from our spouses and, you know, broke up our family. So that was like the plan anyway for us to become this way. So I think, and with that in mind, and just me personally, knowing that I had that as a flaw, it's just like you want to change that, because otherwise, how can you ever welcome love in a healthy form if you feel like you don't need anybody? We all need each other.
Yes. So
that's where that poem stemmed from. And even, you know, I mentioned my mom in that poem, like her, like it's like a generational thing,
yes,
like her being hyper independent and watching her just to a fault be independent, to the point where it's like you didn't even have to be this independent, but you chose to because you knew nothing different.
Yeah.
Watching that, what does that do? Trickle down onto me. I'm the eldest daughter. What does that do? Trickle down to my little sister. She's the baby. All of us, same qualities. Very headstrong, very independent, very hardworking, good, you know, etiquette, work ethic. But where do we get to have a soft landing?
Right.
And that's where that poem came from.
I love that so much, because it's very true. We tend to do and act on what we know and how we were raised.
Yes.
And it takes us to be that person to break those generational curses. And that's cool. So you said you're the eldest daughter.
Yes.
How is it being?
I'm the middle child, but I'm the eldest daughter.
Got you. Okay.
Being the eldest daughter, it comes with a lot of responsibility. I think you I was a mommy's girl. Like, I used to look at my mom, the way she would dress, like how she would carry herself. But I also think it comes with that harshness. And my mom used to always say, like, I didn't worry about you because I guess I presented myself in a way where she didn't think I needed much attention.
Huh.
Like,
Okay.
I always seemed to be on a straight and narrow. Like, I wasn't just wild, or I wasn't not doing my studies. I was smart, able to articulate myself. So she looked at it as like, I don't have to worry about this one. I had to shift focus to the other ones. But that also, you be like, I need that attention too. Like,
How did it make you feel?
just like the same way that poem is just like building that independence. Like, I can't depend on nobody. I always got to remain strong. I always have to keep that poker face on. Like, even if I'm crying and dying inside, the external can never know that. Because guess who has to be strong? Me.
Yeah.
Always.
Every time, right?
Every time.
And even outside of that, even us just growing up in Philly,
Yes.
outside of Philly, that's a whole other ball game.
Yes.
That's a whole different harsh world out there too.
Yes. And even like I said, I'm the middle child. My older brother was murdered in the city of Philadelphia. So a lot of us have that same story, losing our siblings to gun violence. So also another strength thing that you just learn to put on that armor and face the world. Like, what else can you do?
What else can you do?
But face this armor and be resilient. And it's like we learned resilience as children of Philadelphia at a very young age.
Very young age. And
Very
become
young
numb.
age.
Very young.
And we don't even realize it until in hindsight, and you're looking over certain things. You might see a video of someone, being murdered, and it might not trigger you as bad because you've seen this time and time again, or have experienced it time and time again. That's not normal.
Not normal.
That's not normal. But
and we can see it and just scroll, and it's
like, it's so deep.
Yeah.
It's so deep, but
what's the beauty of it though? We're doing the work. We're doing the work right now.
Yes.
And that's the
shout
power.
out to the work. Shout out to the work
of that. So again, even just with that, I just want to thank you again. Thank you for being here.
I want to thank you for allowing me to dive into that poem, because a lot of times, I don't know if other artists feel the same. Like, when we tap into that emotion to write whatever we're writing, or sing whatever we're singing, we kind of just put it on wax, perform it, and then maybe push it to the side. We don't really dig into the why. So like, you bringing that to my attention to like, all right, let's break this down stanza by stanzas. What did this mean? And it was like, dang, this is exactly what it meant. This is exactly how I felt at the time. So I appreciate you for doing that.
Absolutely.
For me. Yes.
It hit home for me.
Yes.
I'm like, hold up.
So
I got to bring this line up.
I'm so glad. That means that I'm doing my purpose. Purpose. Yes.
You are. Give me, what kind of music was playing in the house when you were growing up?
I have boomer parents. So my parents started late. Like, they had, my brother and I are 10 years apart. So she was 26 when she had him, 10 years, 36 when she had me. My dad was 42 when I was born. And then she had my sister at 42.
Okay.
A lot of Marvin Gaye. A lot of 70s music, like, WDAS, Sundays, the oldies. Every Sunday, my mom cooks Sunday dinner. That is in the back. She would go turn the radio on, put the oldies on, go put Butterball on, so we can listen to the oldies while we're in it. And it's just like a lot of Marvin Gaye. Who else? Anita Baker, Sade, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
There we go.
Like, those are like my staple. Like, Earth, Wind, and Fire and Marvin Gaye are like, I love them. Yeah. Like, wholeheartedly love them, because it's so nostalgic. It reminds me of drives in the back of the Sable, the Mercury Sable. My mom going from like the Northeast to North Philly to my grandma's house, listening to those type of music. Like, I love it.
It gets deep.
It gets deep for me, but I always been called an old soul because I had old parents. So it's like, I got it honest, but I love that because it kept me well-rounded. It kept me like very firm and not too silly. Like, of course we have our moments, like, growing up, adolescence, early 20s, we go astray. But like, I always felt like I had a maturity level to me that was beyond my years, where I could hang with people older than me and not feel intimidated, like just wanted to gain the wisdom. But yes, heavy Marvin, heavy Anita Baker, heavy Sade, heavy Luther Vandross.
Ooh, heavy Luther.
Heavy Luther Vandross. My dad was like Whitney, heavy Marvin, heavy Patti LaBelle. That was like who he really liked. But my mom, she loved some Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye.
Bad.
I
love Luther
Vandross.
Vandross, bad.
That's so good. Does that go into play when you're writing? Like, do you listen to music while you're writing, or you just
Sometimes, and sometimes I don't. I liked, it's this one song. It's so weird, but it's this one song on a Jill Scott album, the Light of the Sun album, right? That came out in like 2011. That album will always be one of my favorites because I feel like it was a pivotal point in my life where I was 22, like 21, it might have been like 21, 22. And I was just starting into the healthcare world. I just gained my independence. I had just broke up with my boyfriend. And
a lot was happening?
There was so much, but I just felt like I was just gaining so much independence in that time frame, right? And it's this bonus track where it's just like her just doing scatting over like, a jazz beat. And it's called the Light of the Sun bonus track. But there's no words for real. It's just her scatting.
Yeah.
I'll put that on and write.
And start going crazy.
If I'm overwhelmed, I put that on. It's another song on there called When I Wake Up. It's talking about, be too much on my mind. That's how she starts it off. When I wake up, everything I went through will be beautiful. I put that on. Like, I'm a heavy, avid Jill Scott, like, lover, diehard, stan, fan, whatever you want to call it.
She is good. He Loves Me is one of my favorites. Yes. That's one of my favorites. Let that song down.
But the older you get and revisit the older albums, it just makes womanhood a lot more brighter. Like, you just start feeling comfortable about the uncomfortable things you may feel just in womanhood, even about how you feel with romance. And it just makes you feel comfortable.
Yes.
And lack of judgment, just free to be who you are. So I think for me at a young age, it was just so liberating for me to hear her say these things on words. It's just like, oh my goodness, she's saying these things, but she's singing it. Like, she's not like singing it. It's not like Little Kim raw, but it's like in her own way raw, but sounds so poetic and beautiful. So that's what I gravitated towards. It was just like, it's so raw, it's so authentic. Like, this is exactly how she feels. Like, nobody told her to write this. Like, this is how she feels. And this is how I feel too, but I'm afraid to say it because I'm a woman and I don't want nobody to look at me like, you should be more feminine or this. Why do you feel this way? Like, she
did that.
Made me feel okay to be like that.
She did that.
Yes.
So I know with being a creative, we're writing, we're authors. Speaking of which, we're going to get to you being an author as well and writing a book. But did it ever come a time where someone told you, like, well, that kind of career doesn't make a lot of... Were you ever nervous, like money or like...
Oh, yeah. Like, even like from my parents. Like, like I said, my parents are the boomer era. So they come from, you stay at a job 30 plus years, you retire, you get your retirement, your pension, and you live whatever the rest is left of your life. You live that. And you should be content with that. Yeah. That's the good life. Get a good job, get good benefits, retire, and...
That was safety.
That was safety. That was security for them. So to talk to them about the arts, I grew up playing instruments. I used to play the drum set at church. I used to travel singing in the choir for like a convention, like a gospel convention. So trying to take that more seriously is like, oh, I want to play an instrument for a living. Yeah. They're like, what? Shut up. Like,
what are you talking about?
That doesn't make any money. That doesn't pay the bills. You need to go. And my mom was like avid on like going to trade school, like picking up a trade. If I didn't finish college, make sure I had a trade under my belt. Like, make sure you're able to pay your bills. You'll never be without a job. You'll always have security in your career world. And it was like conflicting in a way because like you have this one area that's just pulling on you. Like, yeah, I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to go on tour and I would like to back up sing for somebody or I would like to play drums like Sheila E. But then you have your structural environment telling you that that's not it. Yeah. It's not going to get you nowhere. Yeah. So, and I don't fault them because that's exactly how they were raised.
That's what they know.
That's all they know. So for me to like see beyond that and want to do more, I'm just grateful that I'm able to make it happen now. It's never too late.
Right.
Yeah.
How did it feel getting paid for your first creative experience? Talk about that because...
Getting paid? Oh, man.
I'm still trying to figure it out.
Getting paid. So a lot of us artists, we do a lot for free. We do. We do just because off of good merit and just for the love of the artistry. But when you get paid, it's like you feel invincible. Like, dang, y'all like me that much where you going to book me and pay me.
Pay me.
Not even just pay me, but pay me what I asked for. Like, not trying to, like, compromise my worth. Like, you're gonna pay me what I asked for, and it's just like, well, I'm that.
Yeah.
I'm walking around like, yeah, book link in my
Yes.
bio.
Yes, let's get this right.
Yeah, it's like that's exactly how it just feels very liberating. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm getting paid to do what I love,
What you love, right?
wholly and fully, wholeheartedly. Yes.
Let's talk about your book.
Yes.
So, because you have, how many you have
It's
out?
two.
Two, right?
It's two that I self-published. They're a series, Situations Volume 1 and Volume 2. And then I co-wrote on a book called Poeticals Volume 1. It was
Nice.
like a group of poets, and we just combined our poets together to put out a publication. But the Situations Volume 2 and Volume 1 are the babies.
Yeah.
That's the youngest and the oldest. Of course, one is the oldest. One, it was like my trial and error. And I feel like if you look at it with children, that's typically how parents feel. When they had their first child, they don't know what they're doing. They just figuring it out and just gave it a shot and gave it their best. And that's exactly how I felt, like, in hindsight, about Situations Volume 1. Reading it, I'm just like, you could have did so much better. You could have worded this entirely better. The design could have been better. The cover, like, I'm just critiquing it like super hard now.
Yeah.
Situations Volume 2, it was a 5-year hiatus in between, or 4 years. 2019 to 2020, 4-year hiatus in between. A lot had transpired in between that time. You know, my mom had a cancer diagnosis. She passed December 2020. So in between that time, I'm dealing with the grief. I was madly in love with somebody around the time I wrote Situations Volume 1, and we had, you know, separated, and we're in a very not speaking bad place. So it's hard to grasp for inspiration sometimes, but I would still just write things and just archive them along the way.
Yeah.
Like, I would just think about random things that occurred in my life, whether it be previous, like, relationships, situations, things I observe people talk about on social media, and just turn that into a poem. Certain things, like, let my imagination just run wild sometimes.
Yeah.
And then, like, I started just piling them up in my Google Docs. Shout out to Google Docs.
Shout out to Google Docs, baby.
And I just had poem after poem after poem, and I would, like, label them like memoir 2020 this, like 2020 that. Mind you, like I said, the second book didn't come out till 2023.
Yeah.
So there's poems in there that are, like, at least 3 years old from the time, like, when it was released.
That's awesome.
But yeah, those two are my most vulnerable things. Like, I just didn't care how people see it. I just hope that someone would relate to it. And the funniest story from Situations Volume 2, Mani, my girl, shout out to Mani.
Shout out to Mani Love.
Mani Love, that's my heart. That is my entire heart. Her mom, Mani bought a book. You know, she wrote me this beautiful message in the little box we had when you buy something. Like, so I signed it, sent her the book, shipped it to her mom's house. Her mom thought it was a photography book because I'm on the cover. Like, I did this, like, super, like, vibrant cover where it's themed. Like, every time I do a photo shoot for Situation series, I have tears coming down my eyes. Whether the colors change,
Nice,
but the tears are still there.
I love that.
Right? So her mom thought it was like a photography book. So she goes to open it and realizes literature in there. And the mom starts reading it, tells Mani, like, oh my God, like, it's so many things in here that just took me back to a certain place in my life. And it's just like, we're not the same age. You know, that's her mom at the end of the day. So it just made me feel so good to know that it just reached a whole nother generation. Like, nothing is new under the sun. The things that we think they're so trivial that nobody else can relate to or resonate with. Somebody that was running back in the 80s and the 70s, like, they've experienced the same thing and can resonate with your words. And that just, it made me feel so good. Made me feel so good.
And you know what? There's a power that you have. See, it's not easy to evoke that kind of emotion, though. So you have that power to do that. That's awesome. A lot of people can't be creative in that way to make someone feel something and say, wow. Like you said, y'all were in the same age.
Right.
You know? So that's powerful.
Yes.
Who influences you?
As far as, like, industry people or just in general?
Just in general.
Who do I get inspired? All of my girlfriends. I am such a big supporter of all of my girlfriends.
Yes.
And I think they're all very different in their own way, but I learn a lot from each of them.
Yeah.
for different reasons. Some like Monty sue me. They're younger than me, but I learned so much from them. Even the ones that are my age, I learned so much from them. The ones that are older than me, I get so much from them.
Yeah.
So all of y'all, I love y'all. They all inspire me for different reasons. Of course, we got the industry. Like I said, Jill Scott's number one. That's my girl. Very big fan of like Doechii. Like I like her rollout and how she's just very unapologetic on how she feels, how she looks, and she's gorgeous. But I love seeing a woman of her complexion just be so unapologetic, because in the rap industry they always say, "Oh, we don't have nobody to represent. Like y'all got it." Full face, and she's the bomb.
Yeah.
She's all that. She's everything that
right
she
now.
thinks she is. But I get inspiration from just all types of creatives in the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
When I see people just truly authentic to their passion, and, you know, shout out to ADW.
Shout out to ADW.
You know what I'm saying? I always try to rep the city. If I could buy something small, like something I could take out of town with me, like when I do interviews and stuff, I'm always trying to wear something from the Philadelphia, art scene.
Yeah.
Because I think we're just one of the most talented people on this earth.
We are.
We have so much talent. We have so much talent, whether it be with the clothes, like in the fashion world, whether it be with the artistry as far as music, photography. We're just that.
So much.
We are just that. And I always just get inspired just by seeing people just being authentic and raw and just loving what they do.
It's so inspiring, and it's a cool thing, because we're not like a New York City where, of course, we don't have like the infrastructure and all the companies that they have, right? But the creativity, the drive, the passion, all of that is here.
Yes.
So to wake up and to be, first of all, to be from this city is amazing. Like my best friend Adriana, she knows I say at least 5 times a day, I love Philly. Like, I love Philadelphia so much.
It's really nothing like Philly. Like, just being a person that has been like well traveled throughout this country alone, wherever you go, Philly is respected.
Anywhere you go.
Anywhere you go and you say that's where you're from, they're going to give you the utmost respect. Because the first thing, they think you don't mess around.
Right. That's
like,
the truth.
Oh, she don't mess around. Like, she don't take no stuff.
That's the
truth.
truth.
And then the next thing they'll ask you is if you hang with Meek Mill.
Right. Exactly. You Meek cousin?
Yeah, I'm like... Like, we all love the guy, of course, yes, but we don't all personally know him. But yes, it's always love. But yeah, wherever I go, I always feel honored. Like, I'm a Philly girl through and through. You hear it in the way I talk, my twang. It's always going to be represented.
Swag, everything.
Period. The way, everything.
Do you ever think about moving to another city, or do you want to?
I used to think about, before Atlanta became super oversaturated.
Yeah.
I used to think about, because the price, like the cost of living was more reasonable for what you would get down there. Like luxury, like lofts and condos for like the same thing you would pay up here for like a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
So that was like a thought, but I didn't want to leave my sister. Like my sister's my baby. So just like, but I've thought about like living on the West Coast, living in like Texas, just real estate wise, like just because of the real estate, because I'm into real estate. I actually own a triplex, so
nice.
Definitely into real estate, so I'm always like looking at that. But Philadelphia is so up and coming and being developed now. It's like maybe I should like hold my horses a little bit and see what's being developed within the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah,
honestly and truly.
And people are coming over.
Yeah,
and wanting to live here. Even a lot of New Yorkers.
Yeah, I'm about to say New York is transitioning down here, because now it's just like the New York prices are always ridiculous.
Always ridiculous.
Even when I was in high school, all the Haitians used to come from Brooklyn and Queens and all that, Harlem, and they would come move to Philly, and they would come in there talking all this New York mess, and we would be like, yo, why don't you go back home? Like,
right.
We don't want that New York stuff here. Like, they like, yo, it's too expensive to live in Brooklyn. Like, that's why we moved here. And I'm just like, wow. And you start looking up stuff, and you're like, yeah, I wouldn't want to pay that either. But I love New York. There's nothing like New York.
That's my second favorite city.
There's nothing
Philly,
like New York.
New York. I love me some DC too.
Me too. Love me some Philly, New York, DC. I'm trying to think, is there any city that really pulls on my heartstrings? Like Chicago.
Wow. See, I only been in Chicago. How many times I've been in Chicago? 1 time. So I can't really fully say it.
I've been 1, 2, 3 times, and I'm about to go. Inshallah, I'll be there this July.
Nice.
Yes. So Chicago is nothing like summertime shy.
Yeah.
If you go, you have to go in the summertime.
And that's what it is, right? I went. When did I go? I went in like the top of the springtime, so it was still a little bit cold. So I didn't really
Yeah.
get the gist
When
of
you
it.
go when it's like a little chilly, that wind, like you'll see why they call it the Windy City for sure. But in the
Freezing.
summertime, the people, like, they're just so vibrant. They have so much culture. The food is amazing. I'm a major
heard.
foodie.
I heard.
I likes to eat.
Me too. I love food. Damn.
Yes, love me some food. Love going to restaurants. But yeah, Chicago is one of those ones. Like, if you enjoy the cities like New York and DC, you would love Chicago. Downtown Chicago, you would love it.
That's where it's at.
That's where it's at.
I'm gonna get the experience at one time, and when I
Yes.
do, I'm hitting you up.
Yes, hit me up.
Right?
I want
It's
to see the
summertime.
pictures. I want to see the pictures of you and Adriana with y'all fits on. You know what I'm saying? I
Outside.
need to see all of that and let me know how it goes.
Will
yes.
do. Tell me the transition. So you did mention earlier with you converting over to Islam.
Yes.
How has that been for you? Tell
It
me before, during, and even the love after.
So before started about 4 years ago.
Ooh.
So it was something. I have a lot of friends that are Muslim, and I've always like admired how they carry themselves, how they dress, how they jazzed up everything.
Yes.
But like I said, I grew up in a Baptist church. Like, not like Baptist. Baptist is like super black, super cultured. Like,
Yes.
that was the culture. So, and my mom was like, my mom was she wasn't a deaconess, she was a trustee of the church. So it's like, my mom was very close to the pastor and his wife, we call them like our aunt and uncle. So it's just like, in my mind, it's like, yeah, this is something that you're intrigued about, but you can't change over. Like, you can't make that transition. Like, it's too much. Like, it's too much.
This is
like,
what you would think.
in my head, this is what I'm thinking in my head. The thought lingered over the 4 years, but I never fully jumped into it. I've always inquired about certain things, asked people their journey, on their journey, whether they were born Muslim, whether they reverted to Islam, and I will always just be intrigued. And I was always intrigued by the Tawhid, like, there's only one God. Like, because in Christianity, we learn so different. And we're also taught, like, in Christianity, you kind of don't inquire too much. Like, it is what it, like, this is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, whether how many translations of the Holy Book, this is what it is, right? So I started noticing that within these past couple of months, I say like towards the end of 2024 to 2025, I started like having that notion to get more structure in my life, because I started to feel like when my mom passed, I went on like this subconscious rebellion against structure, and religion fell in that pocket.
Okay, let's talk. Okay.
Yes. So it was like I wasn't going to church anymore. I couldn't bring myself to go back to the church we grew up in, because it was like it would not feel right to enter that church without my mom. So I'm like, I'm not doing it. Like, I talked to my sister about it. She's also like, I'm not doing it. Like, we just couldn't do it. But I also just didn't feel connected to Christianity the way I thought I did when I was growing up. And I don't know if it was just because it was second nature, because this is what was in my household, or whether I truly ever had a genuine connection to it, right? All these realizations are happening in my head. I'm not really talking about it to people. I've talked about it to like one or two people. My brother and my best friend, Cherie. Those are the only two people that really knew like my thought process about Christianity and Islam. And they would always tease me like, you about to take it harder. They knew it. They was like, it's coming. They don't know when, but you gonna do it. My brother was like, you about to be Sister Khadijah. They would just make jokes about it. But like I said, in that time frame of like the end of last year into the beginning of this year, I just was thinking like, I need more structure in my life. Like, I feel like I'm just rebelling against just having this piece of my life is missing. And I need to figure out what I want to do. I talked to my best friend about it, and I'm like, listen, we at the top of the year, the holy months are coming up, whether it be Easter, whether it be Ramadan. I said, I need to pray for clarity on whether I'm going to do the Daniel fast like I've done before, and which I used to do with her, my best friend, like we would do it together, or am I going to follow what's been like tugging at my heart for the longest and explore Islam, right? So life is just funny like this. I just started seeing like more things that I don't know if it was because Ramadan was coming up. Like, you start seeing all the ads about Ramadan, about all the abayas and all the hijabs, and TikTok, all you're seeing is like Islamic like jokes and stuff. And I'm just like, all right, so let me download this app. Let me start reading the Quran. started reading.
Hmm.
End of January, I'm wearing hijab.
Wow.
I hadn't even taken my shahada yet. I just started
Wow.
slowly transitioning into it because I just started reading, and that's the best way you can make a decision is to educate yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
Reading the Quran, started wearing hijab, and it's starting like people who are seeing me, especially at work, because a lot of my patients and stuff they're white, so they're looking like, what in the world? Like, what is going on? Like, what is this transition happening? I'm not really talking about it much. Then I went to the store. It's a store on Germantown Avenue that sells like, Islamic clothing and books and things like that. And I'm like, I need some more hijabs to wear to work. I went in the store, and when I left out the store, my plan was to take Shahada after Ramadan. I said, I'm going to fast first, see how I like it. If I like it, then I'll go ahead with it. Like, I'm not going to. But the more I read, it was like, don't delay it. Because God forbid you ever leave this earth and you're not Muslim. And you're doing all this reading, you're doing all this research. For what? Ultimately. You feeling called to it, just do it.
Time is now.
Time is now. February 4th, I'm at the store on Germantown Avenue. Go get my hijabs, get in the car, and I'm looking at the time. It's almost 10 o'clock. And I'm like, let me see what time the masjid open. I'm going to go take my shahada today. And I got there right when it opened at 10 o'clock.
Ready to go.
Right, 'cause it was right there. Yes. And when I got there, they said, go to the sister entrance. I go to the sister entrance. Mind you, I have a hijab on. And I'm like, get to the door is locked. So I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not supposed to do this. Like, maybe I'm like, this is telling me this is a sign. So I'm leaving to walk back to my car. I see a sister walking up.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum. Is this the entrance? She's like, yeah, come on. And I was like, I was interested in taking my shahada today. She's like, alhamdulillah, we're going to go to the Dawah Center. I went to Germantown Masjid because it's near me. Walked me down there, and there was a brother in there, 2 brothers in there, and a sister in there. And the brother, he's asked me what I knew so far. I'm telling him what I knew thus far. He said, that's really good. So then he goes over everything, about the 5 pillars of Islam, all that stuff, right? So he's like, do you understand? Are you ready? So I'm like, I'm ready. I took Shahada, and Kai, I cried. Wow. The minute he said, you are now Muslim, I cried. And he's like, everybody in the Dawah Center is like looking at me like, you're about to make us cry. Because like it was just uncontrollable. Yeah. And I had I've consulted my friends prior and just told them it was something I was thinking about. So when I finally just jumped off the bridge and did it, they were like, wait, you did it? Like, I thought you were just thinking about it. I said, I just felt called to do it. And that's the type of person I am. I go off of how I feel. Like that soul movement, I don't ignore it. I'm feeling something, I'm going to do it. And that's exactly how I felt at that time. Wow. So that was before. During, it was so intimidating. It's so much knowledge. But every Muslim that I knew or didn't know said, do not try to learn it all in one day. This is people who were born Muslim that are still learning, right? So don't overwhelm yourself. Yeah, you hear that. You hear them say that. But when something is new and you're excited about it, you want to know all there is to know about it. So you're catching yourself like reading the Quran and like trying to understand the language. Mind you, everything is in Arabic. Even the translations, even if it's in English, like you ultimately, like I have to learn how to pray in Arabic. So this is totally different. Like trying to enunciate the words, hard. Like super hard. Where the way it looks is not the way like you're articulating. Right. I'm like, oh my goodness. But I just said that to myself. Like, I'm just so happy that I was able to just not talk myself out of it and just keep at it. I got sticky notes. I went back to school with it. Got sticky notes. I got my prayer rug. I put Al-Fatiha, which is the mandatory. Like, we have to say that every time you make Salah Al-Fatiha. It's the opening chapter of the Quran. I wrote that down, put a sticky note on my prayer rug. And the 2 surahs that are like short, E-Class and what is the other one? Al-Kawthar. Those both I put on a sticky note.
Nice. And
the rest of the like parts, like the handouts that I would start taking new Shahada classes at the masjid. Whatever handouts they gave me like to go along with like the instructions on how to make Salah, they're all at the top of my prayer rug.
Wow.
And me reading that over and over again, using this, like, it was like this animated Islamic channel on YouTube that teaches you how to make like beginners salah. Every time I just kept on watching it. Every time I'm making it, the video's playing as I'm praying, because I'm like, I'm going to learn this. Like, I had to do it repeatedly because this is how I learn anything else.
Yeah.
When I write things down, this is how I learn my poetry. So this is how I'm going to do what works for me. It was still overwhelming because now it's like this is a lifestyle change. Like, the things that you used to do, you're transitioning out of, you know, to be pleasing to your Lord. And some things just felt easier that I was already transitioning away from. And some things just felt like, well, how am I going to manage this? Like, this is all I know. Like, this is something I love doing.
Yeah.
But eventually you start to see the beauty in what the book is really telling you and why. You start seeing the reasoning and the rationale, and it doesn't seem so hard to change or to shift after a while. Now we are approaching the Eid.
Yes.
And I've come so far to where I've memorized those 3 things that were sticky notes on my prayer rug. I've been praying night prayers and early morning prayers at the masjid, going to Juma on Friday, with people I don't even know. Like, it's going there essentially by myself. Eventually I started seeing people I know, but essentially I was going alone and just fitting in. But the thing about Islam that is so embracing, and people just love you just because of their love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's it. They don't have to know you. You are my sister in Islam. Come on. We're going to get you together. You're going to be fine. Funniest thing, the biggest confirmation for me in this whole thing. I said, I was like, I want to branch out. Like, I've been going to this one masjid because it's closer to home. Like, I want to go to a different masjid now. Experience, see if it's different, like, than what I've been learning. Decided to go to Juma one day, Sister Clara Muhammad. Not too far from me. I go there by myself. And a couple of my friends, my guy friends, they go there as well, like with their families. But they were just like, try it out one day. I go there, sit there for Juma. Everything was beautiful. I go to leave. I see this lady, like around my parents' age. And I'm looking at her face and I'm like, I know this woman. Like, I know her. It's my mom's childhood friend.
Wow.
I haven't seen her since my mom's funeral.
Wow.
And she's like, in her garb. So I don't ever recall seeing her like that before. So when I seen her I was like, what is your name? And she tell me her name. And I'm like, it's me. It's Rya. Like, that's what my family calls me. Like, it's Rya. And she like just gave me the biggest hug. And it just felt like my mom was there.
Yes.
And I was just like, all this time I've been like thinking like, what would she think? Like, would she be criticizing me? Like, would she be upset with me? It was like weighing on my head. Oh my God, I'm getting teary-eyed just talking about it. But I was like, is she going to be upset with me because I made this decision? Seeing her there was like the confirmation to know like, she's still here and she's cool with what you did. She's happy that you did it. Go ahead.
That is beautiful.
That's where I'm at with it now.
You know what? It's amazing to hear you talk about the process from before, during, and after, and how much confirmation. That last part about your mom was very touching. And that's really basically all you need.
All I needed.
To continue to move forward. And it just shows how much dedication and persistence you have to be where you are now. You sound very peaceful. You sound very grateful. And
so many people are saying this to me, like, and it's like, I feel that internally, but I'm not thinking that it radiates outward to y'all. But that's how I feel internally. I feel so at peace with my decision and just how I just feel in general. Like, not even just with the decision, but ultimately just where I'm going.
Yes.
Because I know that things are about, look, they say, God, show me how good it can get. It's about to get great.
It's
about to get great.
Great.
Alhamdulillah for it all. I'm telling you.
Oh my God. You don't know how happy I am right now. Like, if my smile could get any wider, it really, really would.
That's what I'm telling you. It's one of those things where, like, you have to just, it's a testimony, man. I feel like I'm talking about Islam almost every day.
Really?
Because people are like, they're very curious, knowing, like, who I was and where I come from, how I grew up. They're like, they see the change, they see the transition, they just see like the evolution.
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Like,
Yeah.
you know, what got you glowing like this? Or you just talking so calm and you just look so peaceful and so serene and like bothered by any challenges. Wow. Whoever Allah guides, no one can misguide. And that's all I can say about it.
That is so
it's the best thing I could have did.
I love this. And it shows a lot about where you are
Mm-hmm.
now. That's a blessing.
Yes.
Growing up, my mom, and I was just explaining this earlier in a podcast episode,
Mm-hmm.
she would always tell me, self-love is the best love. No matter what, make sure you love yourself, you do right by yourself, because it's always going to shine through.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I lead with my podcast. That's what I have during my podcast episodes. That's what I want people to take away from it.
And
so
that radiates from you, whether you realize it or not.
Mm-hmm.
The way you post your pictures, like you just always just are in a state of confidence.
Thank you.
And just knowing that, you know, I'm beautiful. I have a beautiful spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy life for what it is. Whether the rain comes, I know the sunshine is right around the corner. You just look like you carry yourself with such dignity and an aura that is just untouchable.
I appreciate that.
And that's just palpable from social media.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to even like get that aura exchange now.
Yes.
But like I said, it's just from social media, just seeing the things you decide to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like those things are palpable, whether people realize it or not.
Yeah.
The things you choose to engage with and how you speak on social media, like people say like, oh, this is just like for fun and games. But like, yo, honestly, it's palpable.
Yes.
How you are. Yeah, it comes
this is
out.
real life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yes.
So now I want to do this thing where I ask my guests,
Mm-hmm.
what does self-love mean to you?
It's everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's the guide to just keeping your life in order.
Yeah.
Being unwavering about how you feel about yourself. Nobody can tell you about yourself. You know, we live in a world where people always have something to say.
Always.
Whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, somebody has something to comment about. And when you know yourself and you love yourself, those things don't deter you. They don't sway you because you know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I literally just tweeted that yesterday. I said, one thing about it, I know exactly who I am.
Did.
And I take pride in it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can tell me about RyAnn or Raya, whichever version of me that you would like to talk to, but nobody can tell me about me because I love me some me.
Yeah.
I look in the mirror and that came with time. I think that as you get older, you start defining your self-love a little different. It may have looked different at 25 for me. It may have looked different at 30.
Yeah.
But at 35, going into now 36, it looks completely different.
Yeah.
But this is the best I've felt in a very long time. And it's the most confident I've felt in a very long time. Where I just feel like, listen, this is my purpose. The people who are here, I'm so grateful for. I all feel aligned to everybody that's around me.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the first times in life where I feel like everybody that's around, we're on the same wavelength.
Love it.
Even though we're all doing totally different things, we're really not doing the same things. Frequency. Leveled out. Mm-hmm. And it feels good.
Yeah.
So moving forward, self-love is like the standard.
Yes.
It's the top of the pyramid, and everything else falls under that umbrella.
The foundation.
Yes. Has to be sturdy.
Yes.
Otherwise, nothing can be built upon it.
Nothing can be built upon it.
Nothing will withstand anything without it if that is not solid. It shapes every relationship you want to have.
Absolutely.
Whether it be platonic, romantic, the way you feel about yourself is how, and it doesn't mean it's how people are going to treat you.
Right.
You could think the world of yourself and people could still treat you, differ from that because they don't recognize the beauty in you, or they may recognize it, but they don't have the beauty in themselves to appreciate it.
Yes.
But you don't have to accept it.
Right.
You could be presented with nonsense. All you want is what you accept.
It's that choice. You get to choose.
The choice. The discernment. The choice.
Discernment, baby. Yes.
The choice.
Oh my God. If that ain't the best way to end the episode, baby,
Listen.
I hope y'all are feeling as inspired and empowered as I am right now.
I love some wisdom talk. Listen, we'll be here all day messing with me.
Likewise.
We was here all
I'm
day.
sad that that's our time, but you know, me and you were going to
I'm about to say this ain't our time.
Yes,
this is our time with them.
on this time. Yes, but you know, we're going to continue to build
Absolutely.
and build our relationship. I just want to thank you again.
Of course.
For coming.
Thank you for having me, and just congratulations on your endeavors. This is a beautiful display of just who you are and your creativity. I think you are marvelous as a host.
Thank you.
And I just wish that everything, and I pray that everything just soars from here on out, that you are continuously abundant in your journey.
I appreciate that
so much.
Thank you so much, RyAnn.
Of course.
And to all the people watching and listening right now, thank y'all for tuning in. If you guys want to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, please do. And RyAnn, drop your @
It's no please do. Y'all better do it. That's a threat. It's like
get to
that's
it
a
now.
threat. Okay, so if you would like to follow me, my Instagram is RyAnn. That is IAMRYA. That is typically where I post all of my poetry, and you can see all my little like new Islamic things that I like to wear. But and then Twitter is like my free.
I love Twitter down.
I typically don't tell people to follow me on Twitter because I just feel like I just say whatever and it's not like really concrete things. But you can follow me on Twitter at Ry to the N. That is RY_2 THE_ANN. That was my old podcasting nickname.
For real?
Ry to the N.
Ry to the N. I love that. Ry to the
Period.
I love that. So listen, until next time, y'all, until another Kai Talks episode, I'll see you soon. Self-love is the best love. Peace, love, and blessings to y'all. Until next time.